I've been learning day trading for a few months now, and these are the hardest things I've had to go through. I've essentially ran into 3 roadblocks that I've had to work on fixing and I'm still actively working on as a beginner who's learning how to trade, so I thought I'd share them. Might give you an idea of what to expect if you've never tried trading before. So the very first thing I find the most difficult is going to be consistency. Now, this was more of a problem I had very early on. When I mean consistency, I mean getting on the markets every day with the same exact attitude coming into every day. Essentially, it makes it real difficult when you lose for 4 or 5 days in a row to come back on that next day, to even want to wake up in time for the markets to come on that 5th day. Never mind having a good mental space looking for the exact same setup, because getting a setup wrong so many times, whether it's your fault or not your fault, makes you second guess it. That makes it really hard to stay consistent. And the biggest problem with this is that the only way to solve it is just by putting more reps in and just doing it more until you feel more comfortable and understand your strategy better. And so in the beginning, there were a lot of days that I would see news exactly at 9:30. Nah, I'm not going to trade that day because it didn't work out last time. Oh, I'm a little bit tired. I stayed up a little bit too late. It's not even worth trading because, well, I've only been losing for the past 2 weeks. But I think once you get past this barrier, it starts kind of unlocking things a little better, because the main reason I found this actually happened to me in trades, making it hard to be consistent, is because I cared too much about my trades. So overcoming the difficulties of staying consistent wasn't just better for my profit margins, but also for understanding the markets and getting my setup more often, because I would have less emotional attachment to each trade or my P&L as it goes up and down over the weeks/months. The second major thing I had trouble with was specifically patience after I enter a trade. I found for a very long time there was nothing in my rules about moving my stop loss, but I would continuously move my stop loss down and consistently get stopped out for it to then follow and take my TP, which doesn't help the mental. I'll tell you that right now. It seems so simple when you think about it. Oh, set your trade up and just don't even look at the monitor. But if you're ever looking for a second or third trade in the day, you're going to be checking on that trade, and the new price action might cause you to change the view of your setup. This is stuff you were never worried about when you initially took the trade, but for me, this would plague me. The market needs to move up and down. And so for me, having patience after I entered my trade to trust my setup was a huge thing. And again, this kind of ties to the emotional attachment of the trade that I had a problem with in the first point, which was consistency. And if I really needed to, I just walk away from my computer. Most days I end up only taking 1 trade a day, even if I know where the market's going to continue to go, just because I know this kind of thing plagues me. I like to overanalyze, and this only contributes to it. And so once I have my profit or my loss for the day, that's it. Just leave it at that, come in with a fresh mind the next day. Which kind of brings me to the third point, and that is actually boredom, which again is a very specific kind of boredom, and that's while I'm waiting for my setup or waiting for an entry. This was terrible for me. I'm talking like I've probably lost weeks of actual trading just because I get bored while watching the market. Like, it's really slow. And the problem isn't that I get bored and, go on my phone or anything. It's that I get bored and make something work, which is a problem because that's not how your setup works. And the biggest issue for me about this thing was that during my backtesting, I'd never have this issue. It was only during live. And that's because when you're in backtesting, you just click play and pause. And so the market moves as fast as you want. You will hit your setup instantly or you won't hit your setup, which lets you move on to the next day and you just rinse and repeat. But when you're watching it live, you really want to get a trade. You want to actually make something work. And so when I'm sitting there for an hour and a half with no trade setup, you can bet that my mind will overanalyze and see the random 1 minute fair value gap as an entry for my setup. And so it essentially just caused me to not take my setup so many times. It frustrated me a lot, I will say. And the problem is I could only practice this with the live markets, which had another problem with the consistency. And it all kind of ties together. They're all pretty similar. There are ways to improve it, and as boring and as lame as it sounds, the best way is just to do an insane amount of reps. Just keep practicing the exact same thing until it's so second nature you don't even think of trading as anything else besides taking your exact setup once it hits. And for me, I just bought a prop firm account and I've been having all these issues all over again after trading on paper. That's really the best recommendation I can give, is just backtest more than you think it's worth it. But those 3 psychology things, they've been huge issues I've found. Psychology is always going to be the biggest battle with day trading, and so it's a part of the journey. I can't complain too much. It's always a fun time, especially overcoming them and actually starting to make profit. But I have yet to get there. And don't worry, I'll let you know when I do. But yeah, see ya, I guess.